One team here 3-0 and looking for an upset to be quelled, and the other looking to get their first win of the board. Welcome to SRL TV. I'm Ollie Parche. Beside me is Lachlan Martin. We have the Canberra Raiders being hosted by the Parramatta Eels. Lachlan, a 3-0 versus 0-3 side. How have these teams decided to change anything? How do they want to prepare for this match?
Yeah, well, both teams are on different sides of the table. First versus 8th, and it's gonna be a very hard game for the Parramatta Eels. They come into this game making numerous changes to their side. The side that lost to Penrith last week, 30 points to 18. And if we have a quick look at this side here, I won't go too much into it, but Mark Crimp gets to go at fullback. You have players Luke Shaw moves into the second row. It's going to be a very interesting game here for the Parramatta Eels. And this game should show where we're at. This game will show what sort of improvement they need for whether it's next season or the rest of this season. And coming up against a very strong Raiders outfit.
Yeah, we'll get first touch of the football, though, with Matt Downey, who was, I believe, recently thrust into the starting side, getting first run of the football. There'll be Jordan Marshall to take it first, who goes to Thomas Mendonca via Blake Harris, who puts on a step, and it's a quick swarm of Raiders defenders, but take him to ground. Mendonca plays it for Cherry Evans. Marshall now for Sam Atchison, also getting a change here, now playing of a lock forward role. Jordan Marshall as well being put into the dummy half position. As here is Cherry Evans taking a bit of a run from the center of the park, moving more inside. Marshall flicks over to Harris, a little inside ball there for Atchison to try and take a run, but not getting very far. Eels first set, only infringing just inside Raiders territory as Charlie Butler will kick it away. He finds Jacob Morrison. Morrison puts on a step, tries to make another run through, and ends up being wrapped up in the tackle of Michael Crimp. And it's an early start for the Raiders that they'll be very happy with. Shut them out the first set, didn't let them get too many meters, and now they're on a good field position.
Yeah, the Raiders had really good line speed to begin this game. Getting up in the Eels' face. They had a couple small opportunities to begin the game, Eels, but, now we're going to have to defend here. And the Raiders already up towards halfway.
Yep, as there's Luke Thompson firing it out to Jack O'Neill, the two halves partners who have been a lethal combination. A big reason why this team has started out with 3 straight wins. Williams finds Jordan Lewis. Lewis trying to make his way through a pair of defenders. Couldn't do so. Brought down 35 back from the Eels line. Thompson will go for it, really. And Thomas Mendonca will take it. And Mendonca breaks through a tackle. Now the sidestep into a foot race and is eventually taken to ground there. Good coverage, back defense, but he ends up having to take a penalty for his trouble.
Yeah, Thomas Mendonca, what a run there by the Parramatta winger. Got on the inside there of, I think that one in Corbell, managed to get up to halfway and then forced penalty trying to get a quick play of the ball. I would have argued for a sin bin there, but the ref decided against using the bin right there.
Yeah, I mean, there were defenders back. I do think they were back in time to really prevent a scoring opportunity. I don't think that would constitute a professional foul, given that most of the line from the Raiders had already got back, but penalty still worth giving, as there's Luke Short trying to make a break, but only brought down there by Sabaf Tu'ua. Marshall fires out to Harris, finds Butler. Those two halves partners have not been cohesing too well. Harris has been under the pump recently with some good play, some bad play, something to keep an eye on as the last tackle there taken by Dawson Swarm. Swarm plays it for Xavier Demando. Atchison will put up the high ball. Who's underneath it? It ends up being Matt Downey, but Downey is immediately wrapped up by Tim Jeans, and it's a quick handover 6 minutes into this contest.
Yeah, I don't know why Matt Downey was the one jumping in the air for that one. I mean, the ball, it was not a great kick, first of all. Didn't really give any time for any chance to get under it. Wasn't deep enough. And Matt Downey, I think he was kind of surprised that he ended up with it. Bit of a poor kick to end off a decent set there by the Eels.
Yeah, well, I mean, he is one of the taller players out there, so perhaps that's why he decided to go up for it himself. Just win them that contest at the very least and don't allow the Raiders too much momentum coming out of our own half. As he has James to look for Thompson on a 40-20 attempt. Already had one of those tonight. Thompson with a long kick back, and Crimp eventually able to chase it down inside his 10 and gets run over for his trouble by Taranga Nafiu. Just absolute poleaxe, and that is a tough kick return to take. They're usually looking to try and break from long the Eels with Crimp, Mendonca, and Demando, but on that occasion, just an absolute poleaxing. And, well, now they have to do the hard yards out of their own 30 meters.
Yeah, look, Tiranga have Fair, who really leads this Raiders forward pack. The charge down now.
Charge down by Taua. He almost is able to take that one through, but he is eventually wrestled to ground. But for Raiders now, after reading that 40-20 attempt well, they end up being able to set up with their own. Here's View. We'll find O'Neill via James after tackle 2, and O'Neill will just take a short run up, going himself. James short now to Williams. Williams, can they return him on his back? They can. A referee there, clear view of it, says held up. Tackle 4 now for Canberra.
That's what they can do here. Was James. Good. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to just call the play-by-play as we continue. There's Rahul Kaval, Raiders stand-in captain, one might think, as O'Neill has taken the armband off. O'Neill's kick has found Thomas Mendonca in goal, just a touch too deep. Was looking for the all-or-nothing play in a 7-tackle set for Para.
Yeah, look, no, there were chases there from O'Neill's kick, but he should have had it was a couple meters too deep there. You want it sort of in that 2 to 3 meters off the goal line there to put some real pressure on the Eels. Mendonca has long arms, and he got them above the pack to make a brilliant catch there. And the Eels, he's had a good start, Thomas Mendonca. He's handled everything that's come his way so far. And I think the Eels have to get off the back of that.
Yeah, they have already been able to find their way into Raiders territory. The third time they've done so. So they're making decent work for themselves here, but a good drive back on that crimp run there. Believe that was Rahul Kaval again getting involved, helping his team out. Charlie Butler will take the run here, and he's again brought down by Kaval. Butler will play it for Marshall. Marshall finds Atchison. Atchison has to go for the long kick and eventually does stab it down to Corey Bell. Corey Bell through a set of tacklers tries to beat Crimp and is just about wrapped up there, just shy of his own 40. It'll be To'ua now with, I believe that was John Boy Mayava taking one out from the acting half spot. Here's Thompson, long flat ball to Barnes. Barnes is driven back in a tackle though. Good solo tackle there. I believe it was Justin Barisic as O'Neill goes to Kaval. Kaval trying to burrow his way through and only stopped about halfway short. Oh, Via was looking for the run there. Ended up having it behind him. Lewis did well to back up the play and ends up getting a good solid 8-9 meters off what could have been a busted attack. Thompson kicks long now for the wing of Mendonca. They seem to be targeting that far side of the field from our cameras, as Mendonca is wrapped up 25 meters out from his own line. So Eels getting some decent field position here on this set.
Yeah, look, the Eels, they're starting in decent field position. Second tackle all the way up to the 40 already. The contest, you know, the Raiders are slowly winning the field position battle at the moment. The Eels have to be careful here. You know, then struggling to make meters, and there's another run. It's a good run there by Atchison, a very tough run. They have to find their way out of here, the Eels. They're currently losing the field position battle as they get up towards halfway on the last.
So long as they can just hold themselves in this deadlock, however, no one really getting too much ground, even if the Raiders would say are leading the position battle rather than flat out winning it. But here's Morrison. Morrison through a hole, but is wrapped up there by Crimp on the kick chase. 35 out from the Raiders line. Lormu passes long to Kaval. Kaval breaking free. Crimp isn't back. Kaval going as long as he can. Eventually, the coverage defense gets over to him, but he is still wrapped up after gaining what looked like about 33 meters. Jordan Williams running through a hole here. He nearly gets down to the 10 before he's wrapped up as well. Crimp is well out of position again. They look left side for Jacob Morrison. Morrison sends one through. Or it looked like maybe some foul play there at the end, but Morrison will go over for his first try of the match.
Jacob Morrison, one of the best finishes in the game. Traditionally, a centre has moved on to the wing here. Got the ball out. Put on a bit of footwork to get around. I think that was Dawson Swarm there. Couldn't lay a hand on him, and if he did, he just fell straight off, and Jacob Morrison goes in for the Raiders' first try.
Yep, here's also his first try of the campaign, 7th of his career. So he has technically been of a downturn thus far, 4 tries in Season 2, 2 in Season 3, and now 1 in Season 4. So hopefully it doesn't turn into a half try later on. Luke Thompson will kick towards the right post, and it just swings left enough for him to convert, giving the Raiders a solid 6-0 foundation for them to build off of.
Yeah, look, and that just shows how easily this Raiders side can just apply pressure out of nothing. That set, there wasn't an error with that set. It was just simply the Raiders marching upfield. A couple good runs by a few of their forwards, like Jordan Williams. He had a good run. Caval had a very strong run. And just like that, Jacob Morrison, in fact, Caval assisted was the player who passed the ball off to Jacob Morrison to set him up to open the scoring here at ANZ Stadium.
Well, Jordan Lewis immediately getting a long run up, about 25 meters there. Here's Caval again, and the forwards combining. You just mentioned them, they're getting more and more meters out of it. Some early chunk plays and already getting down into that between the Reds territory and up to halfway here on that offload to James via Williams. Barnes goes into dummy half. He finds Thompson in for Maivia. Maivia puts on a step, trying to get through there, but is eventually brought down by a pair of Eels tacklers. James now to Via. Via running through a hole. Via trying to get past the tackle of Crimp, but is eventually wrestled to ground. 15 now from the Eels line. Where do they look? They go right side with O'Neill. O'Neill puts up a high ball towards the post. Does it take a bad bounce? It does not, and Crimp is waiting there for it. We've seen a few times this week and the past week that players aren't really reading those kicks towards goal too well, thinking that it might just spill off a post, but Crimp did well on that occasion, took the mark, and gave him a 7-tackle set.
Yeah, look, I'll give credit where credit due. He was definitely standing up to these kicks. They had quite a few good catches, quite a few good kick returns when they're under pressure, specifically by Michael Crick and Thomas Mendonca. And I think at the moment they're definitely doing that well. They just have to make some meters off of, build pressure off the top of those catches.
Yeah, well, they haven't been able to do much of that, as they only seem to have gained 30 meters on 5 tackles, but they do have the extra one to utilize. They go to the captain, Luke Short. Short will gain about 9 meters before his brought down. Short plays it over to Harris. Harris kick his charge down again. John Boy Maivia nearly tries to take a run through, but it was quick reactions there from the Eels backline, and it looked like it was Cherry Evans on that side to bring him down.
Yeah, it was a good charge down there by the Raiders. The Eels, they waited too long to kick that one. They needed to kick it sooner and kick it far. And just like that, once again, it's an intercept thrown, though.
Oh, big intercept there. Blake Harris read the ball perfectly. Able to get his mitts out to take that one. And eventually it's some good coverage defense by Eli Barnes, getting back there and making the good tackle. Evans now for Crimp. Crimp is driven hard back by Williams, and all those meters that he had gained on that run are basically snuffed out. Marshall now to Atchison. Atchison with some solid post-contact meters there against what looks like Ben Arnold and Caval. As Harris nearly breaks through here. Harris against Barnes. Harris, can he get the ball down? I couldn't see it, and looks like the bunker will go upstairs for it.
Blake Harris, he took on the line there, nearly got through. Eli Barnes with a great tackle over the top to put him down. And just like that.
Yeah, good work by Aaron Leondis as well. Just making sure that he turned him round and made the stop there. But they will still have another 2 tackles to play with as they go left side. Mendonca switch for sides for Atchison. Oh, it was a really good read there by Tim James to snuff that one out. Otherwise, it looked like Atchison was home free. Marshall long ball for Harris. Oh, Leondis. What an absolute gut shot. Blake Harris will be feeling that until the end of the season, and he already goes on another run. Look at the impact he has made off the bench in just his first 3 minutes.
He's been on for literally 3 minutes. He's come up with a try-saving tackle around the legs. A massive shot on Blake Harris on the last. And then he touches the ball for the first time, makes a line break. What a start he's had. As the Raiders roll down
another line break there. Caval getting through. Got an offload to O'Neill, but the coverage defense was there again. James now to Lormu. Oh, it looked like that was a touch forward there by Ben Arnold. Probably shouldn't be playing that far out, and ends up conceding a costly error after all that momentum, but they get it right back from Charlie Butler coughing it up, and Jordan Williams scoops it. And now it feels like everything just kind of resets itself again.
Yeah, Charlie Butler, he'll be disappointed with himself. They had an opportunity there to apply a bit more pressure, go downfield, starting their set on the 40, and just like that, They've coughed it up so easily, and now the Raiders are inside their 10 once more.
Yeah, it was Barnes who made another barnstorming run. Toa finds an inside pass to Jordan Williams. Williams wrestling there against Atchison and eventually brings him down. James look left side. Great tip back. Charlie Butler makes up for it and is able to make a try-saving intercept there. Made sure it didn't touch the ground even. No deliberate knock-on there called to try and stop that one. A let-off there for the Eels perhaps, but I'll absolutely take it with that playmaking from Butler.
Yeah, Tim James, he's so good at like dictating around the ruck close to the line like there. You know, he was looking for the short ball, crash over play, but Charlie Butler read it like a book, put his hand down and managed to get hold of it, kept hold of it, juggled it a bit. But he gets the Eels out of trouble there.
Yeah, they'll need that. They don't gain much off of this set. They'll go to Atchison. Atchison with a corridor kick ends up finding Barnes. Barnes doesn't able to beat anyone rather. And is brought down there. It looks like by Alistair Russell. He's been brought on here as one of their prop forwards. It's Morrison. Is forced back in that tackle there. Great strong tackle. Oh, a little bit of miscommunication there. It didn't look like Lormu was ready for the opportunity, but Tim James puts on a fan, and then he puts on an offload. Luke Thompson, they read it out of his hands, though, and end up being able to get back and swarm him once more. Barnes to Maivia. Inside ball, Williams. Williams met by a pair of defenders, and he is brought back down, but not before entering the Eels' red zone. James inside for Leondis. Leondis wrapped up and brought down, not getting too much that time around. Leondis will look to play it on the last. James to O'Neill. O'Neill passes up the kick opportunity. Thompson does not get very much on that. Barnes does swoop in to take it, but is brought down for a handover.
Yeah, it was a good set by the Raiders, but Luke Thompson wasn't the right kick option there. Well, I think it was the right kick option, just wasn't deep enough at all. Only went about 5 to 10 meters there, but another error here. They're going to say play on, in fact.
No, it looked like that was touched off a Raider perhaps, and it was stripped out, a one-on-one, and then just spilled loose, and that just went forward from the Raiders, hit an Eels body and came back. That's all I can assume there, but the Eels will be thanking their lucky stars for that one as Atchison nearly coughs it up yet again. Thankfully, he's able to hold on to that, but he has to be forced back into a tackle by Williams and Leondis. Marshall out to Short. Short will bring it up to the 30. Short looks left side for Harris.
Oh,
and now Mendonca. Mendonca's close to the line and is forced over. Great tackle, Corey Bell.
Yeah, Corey Bell covering tackle there, brought him over the sideline. Thomas Mendonca is usually pretty good in those situations. But Corey Bell did very good to lead him towards the sideline, just to take him over it. And the Raiders have the ball back once again.
Yeah, he just got that left shoulder onto the sideline. Now Caval making another break through a hole. No one seems to want to tackle the man. Crimp has to be the man to do it. And even Venn is having some difficulties doing so. James out to O'Neill. Barnes to Thompson. They go through the spine, and eventually Thompson is wrapped up just outside the Eels 40. Goes short side now for Ta'ua and Maivia. Maivia eventually brought to the 30. Now to James, Thompson, Leondis. Leondis making another good leg drive there against the tackle of Marshall. Played back. O'Neill will go for the kick. It's another bomb that doesn't seem to have any kind of travel on it. Cherry Evans takes it. He steps Maivia. He tries to go for another run down the sideline. He might be forced out again. No, he keeps himself within the fringes of the field of play. And immediately they realize, hey, we should probably not be this close to the sideline. And they send it rightwards to Anthony McDonald. Then they go for another inside pass here for Atchison. But Jordan Williams right on top of it brings him to ground just shy of halfway. Marshall out to Harris. Harris inside ball again to Alistair Russell. Russell brought down there in a tackle from Ben Arnold. Played back. They'll go right side now through Crimp. Now to Demando. And Demando, he was maybe looking to be forced over the sideline there by Morrison, but nothing doing there. Demando will play it for Swarm. Swarm, Atchison again, the kick option here. Bit surprising as it rolls too far and dead in goal.
Yeah, it's surprising. I don't know how the Eels are still hanging on here. Raiders had all the possession, but you look at the scoreline. One try changes this game for the Eels, but they can't get that opportunity to change the game when they just keep making errors like that. That was a poor kick there. Had way too much on it. Never looked like it was staying in, and once again, the Raiders start in decent field possession here with a 7-tackle set.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to pin it deep when no one was, and technically it was, but, well, unfortunately, it just ended up rolling too far. If he just set up maybe a little bit more, perhaps could blame it on the Combank Stadium bounces. They now look to go right side of the Canberra attack with a couple of tackles left to go. James now to Thompson. Sends it out to O'Neill. O'Neill will take the run himself. This probably means Thompson has to be the kicking option. Parramatta needs to look for where he is, and Canberra are just setting up a blockade here with Leondis and Williams just to make sure he has protection. Goes to the left side of Eels attack with Mendonca. Maivia able to wrap him up. About 5 minutes to go now, and the Eels only down by 6. I think they would be content with that if they can maintain at least this margin.
Yeah, look, I don't know how the Eels still surviving. The Raiders have had pretty much awful field position. I don't remember the last time, really, the Eels had an attacking opportunity inside the Raiders' 20. And they just keep on turning the Raiders away. They keep going pretty deep into their 30 to 20 zone. But they keep turning around as an early kick here. And the Raiders once again will start the field position over the 30.
Yeah, it was looking for like a 40-20 attempt, but had nothing near the sideline. Lolmu will send it out for O'Neill, and now Luke Thompson. Oh, good wrap-up tackle there. Well worked there by Marshall. Thompson plays it for James. Now Ben Arnold immediately wrapped up there. And a solid tackle. It looked like it's Attila Settendog playing a little bit further inside. O'Neill found Leondis. Leondis finds an offload for James, but James is wrapped up and brought to ground. With 3 minutes left in the half, the Raiders looking to conjure some extra territory through Leondis. His run up the middle gets him just shy of Eels 40. James to O'Neill. O'Neill will look for another punt, and it's Xavier Demando this time who ends up taking it. Demando puts on a step, but it was a good tackle there, I believe, by O'Neill, going back for his own kick chase, in fact, and making the stop. Russell, he puts a big fend on Williams, gets an offload away, and eventually finds his bench partner McDonald, but McDonald is wrapped up there by Leondis. Marshall to short. 2 minutes and less for the Eels to try and perhaps score a try here to tie this up, or at least get them within 2. Here's Sam Atchison running hard against Leondis and Williams. Now Harris. Harris ends up going himself. He's brought down to about the 33 of the Raiders. Harris plays it back, goes to Atchison again. Atchison's punt only finds Bell at the 10. This time the tackle is strong, and they aren't able to get much out of it in terms of field position. Maivia plays it for Thompson. It looks like the Raiders will also be content with this going to 6 unless they can find a nice creative play through someone. It looks like they've gone to Caval. Caval's been the main danger man for them. But in this case, it looks like they'll only have one more play to go to the break as Williams breaks free. Williams puts on a little step on Cribb. Can Jordan Williams go all the way? Big man is going to be brought down by Jordan Marshall, as that will take us to halftime with the Raiders up 6-0. And welcome back from the halftime break. Some interesting changes from these sides at halftime as the Raiders did take that 6-0 lead off the back of a decent try from Jacob Morrison. Well, more of a decent one would say. Lachlan, why don't you walk us through those changes, because they're very interesting to see what the Raiders have done especially.
Yeah, the Raiders have taken off Rahul Caval, Turanga Thiu, and Jordan Williams all at once, who, in my opinion, have 3 best forwards along with Aaron Leonidas, who is on in the second half, I will say, although. But it's a very interesting decision because I would have thought they would have at least had one of the 3 best forwards, especially Caval. He is the captain, so maybe that's a selfless decision, but, you know, he's a very good one at that, and I would have thought that he would have been more, I guess, more respectful of himself and, you know, maybe play more, considering he probably was the Raiders' best player in that first half.
Yeah, it is also interesting as well because they have both their captain and vice captain off. So Jack O'Neill has said that he will be taking the armband for this one as he nearly puts one through the in goal there, but Demando ends up marking it just shy of the in goal area. So he'll end up bringing it out there. We also did see Aaron Leondis again just put an absolute effort on one of their players on the Parramatta side. I believe it might have actually been the recently brought on Shannon Freeburn, but we'll have to double check on that as Crimp will be tackled right on halfway. Crimp sent it out to Marshall, out to Butler, then to Harris. The halves combine, but don't get very much in terms of their meters. Marshall now left side.
Oh, no.
It was actually around Walker. Oh, dear me. Luke Thompson has picked up on an error. It'll be a 6 again, but they won't need that. Luke Thompson just takes it all the way. Oh, my goodness me. What a poor start for the Eels to begin this second half.
That was too easy. Luke Thompson was not expecting that. He had Luke Short running at him, and he wasn't expecting him to spill it. I think the original plan was to go for the back, but last second, it might have been Charlie Butler chose to go for the short ball to Luke Short, and he was not prepared for the catch, and he just spills his lollies. Luke Thompson picks it up, and he is quick, and he just sprints away for the Raiders' first try of the second half.
Yeah, well, that is an absolute gift. Just wrapped up, sent via post, and Luke Thompson delivered a try. And now he will convert his own, now up 12-0.
Yeah, look, it'll be interesting to see how the Eels react to that. They managed to keep it only at 6-0 at half time, but they've had limited opportunities in this game, the Eels. They need to find some ball and then put some pressure on the Raiders to potentially get some points at some point. It's going to be interesting to see how this second half plays out with the Eels under real pressure now. After only conceding 6 points in that first half, they've already doubled that in the second half.
Yeah, well, I mean, if results hold as it is, of course, the Raiders will go to 4-0 and pretty much lock themselves into the postseason. Of course, we will need to do the computations of the standings as this is the final match of this week. James out to Thompson. Thompson will bring it up to the 40, having a bit more of a exhausted run on him, but he'll be fine for it as O'Neill finds some open space. He's trying to look for that 40-20 attempt. Saw one earlier today. If you missed the Cowboys-Warriors match, Jamie Moana with a beautiful one and nearly had a second, but Tyrone Clay kind of interrupted it and also ended up bringing it over. So technically could have had two 40-20s on his ledger. But now the Eels look set to pounce. Here's Walker. Walker now puts a fend on and he has a run through and he's nearly to halfway before he's brought down there by Barnes. Walker will play it now for Marshall. Marshall out to Harris. Harris for Short. Short trying to get his way through a tackle of Ta'ua, but couldn't do so. Good scoot from Marshall there, catching a player off guard. Walker again with a solid drive there. Believe it is against the number 17 of the Raiders as they go to Harris. Harris, why is Harris running? Oh, dear me, that's not gone well for them. And Harris will hand it over about 27 out from the Raiders line.
Yeah, Blake Harris, he should have been kicking that one. He was at dummy half. Maybe he got a bit confused, not usually finding himself in that position. There were a couple of offside markers, but that wasn't a decision there to run it. If he was going to run, he should have at least put a bow up or something. He just took the tackle, though. And, well, once more, the Raiders are flying upfield.
Yeah, I mean, it did seem like a good opportunity, perhaps do that Union-style box kick out of dummy half, but it didn't end up working out for them in any form as now already the Raiders have pushed into Eels territory and look to set up another attack. Here's Ben Arnold. Ben Arnold nearly through. Does beat a tackle of Marshall. Now out to Mataus, but is brought down right in front of the sticks. 12 out from the Raiders. Well, the Raiders, well, I guess you could call it a Raiders goal because that's where they want to put it right now. As it's good kick from O'Neill. Tries to find Morrison, but ends up being taken up there by Dawson Swarm. And some good defense there from Jason Lawmu, still playing in that center role. Ends up making sure that Swarm can't take it out after that kick return. Walker, oh dear me, that was a big takeout there. A big shot, but Marshall, it looked like it actually may have taken a touch off of the Raider. So it will be another set of tackles for the Eels.
They got very lucky there, the Eels. They've got to use this opportunity now. That could have very well been an intercept 10 meters off the line, which would have likely resulted in a try. Instead, now they're marching their way upfield. The Eels, second tackle over halfway. Let's see if they can use this now.
Yeah, now it's going to be Luke Short trying to bring it across the Raiders 40 and does so. Oh, but a forward pass out from Jordan Marshall to McDonald. A poor error there, and now the Raiders will be handed decent enough field position to mount an attack. With the way they're going, they could easily create points off of this. Here's Leondis. Leondis wrapped up, getting some good post-contact meters once again. James now to O'Neill. O'Neill out to Barnes. Barnes nearly able to break through another tackle there, but it was a good bring down by Luke Short, the captain. Tim James now out for Leondis. Leondis nearly through another, but it's Marshall that brings him to ground. Leondis plays it for James. James out to Thompson. Thompson finds Bernardo. Bernardo through a hole. The defense got back in time there and is able to bring him down, but it's a great run for the Raiders on the last. They look to the center of the park with O'Neill and Leondis. He was basically acting as guard once again, but on this occasion ends up having the ball kicked right into him. Bit of a butt punt, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, not something you'd expect from someone as experienced as this Raiders outfit, or in the fact of Jack O'Neill to get that wrong. There was a bit of communication for both Leondis and Jack O'Neill. Jack O'Neill, he shouldn't have kicked that ball with him right there in front of him, but Leonidas should have got out of the way there.
Yeah, I think that might be to do with Leonidas, of course, picked out of the mines as the season 4 SRL draft, excuse me. That was what he was brought in to do, is act as basically a guard for O'Neill and Thompson, and well, he kind of did that to more effect than he would have liked, as he did end up being able to lay a shot as well on that first tackle just to get a little bit of vengeance. Eels now not creating much out of this set. Harris will be forced to punt. His kick finds Corey Bell on the right wing, and he beats a defender there, and well, it was only Shannon Freeburn. And the rest of the Eels got back. It was Harris who ended up bringing him down. Another time of the 5-8 this game has been able to convert on his own kick chase and make a tackle, but that is too much of a tackle from Jordan Marshall, and another holding down results in a penalty Raiders.
Yeah, and once again, that has not been what the Raiders need. The Eels need there, They have to supply some pressure, and they can't apply any pressure when they just keep giving away stupid errors and penalties like that. And they're going to go marching down the field once more for Raiders. This could get ugly if the Eels aren't careful here.
Yeah, well, they have looked decent enough in trying to quell the threats of Canberra, especially when they get down to the goal line, as O'Neill finds Wally Allen. Allen nearly threw another hole there, but he ends up being brought down. Oh, may have been called for second effort there as well on that little swarming, circling tackle. As Leondis takes it, he'll force the Eels to their goal line as he plays it 9.5 meters out from the line. Here's Mataus. Mataus trying to run for himself, and he's brought down. Helped out there by Abraham Walker. James will fire it back for O'Neill. O'Neill just gets the kick away, and he looks to the aerial side, and it's John Boy Maivia who is brought down. They are waited for the contest, and Maivia not able to get it to anyone, and it's a handover for Parramatta, and Luke Short immediately busting one free, but decent enough field position, I feel, for the Raiders, and with their lead, they feel like they won't be too unhappy with that result.
Yeah, it was a good defensive set there by the Eels. They're definitely, they're still in the game, but they just have had no possession at all inside any good field position. I'm not exactly even sure what they can do, because they're completing sets averagely well, and they're defending pretty well. They just can't seem to get meters. This Raiders line defense is really good. That kick will help, though.
Yeah, well, it was a bit of an early kick there, and they looked at Abraham Walker for it. Eli Barnes just basically taking away about 40% of that kick yardage gain, so not great net-wise in terms of that, but very good for the Raiders to try and set up an attack as they're nearly past halfway on tackle 2. They go to Ta'ua, and it looks like, oh, that's a bad head clash there, and it looks like Jordan Marshall is dazed. Oh, dear me. He looks in a lot of pain. Barnes are playing on here. It looks like they're keeping him on. Oh, goodness me. Stop the damn match. The man is absolutely out on his feet right now.
He's dazed.
He's finds Allen. Yeah, he needs to go right now. I don't know why the referee isn't saying anything. Perhaps they think that the Raiders can score off of this one. Not on this occasion, though. It's taken up there by Mendonca, and he's eventually brought down. He's still in there. Stop the match. Why is Marshall there? Look at him. He doesn't know where he is right now. He somehow fends off Leondis, basically acting on instinct at this point. Marshall plays it back for Harris. Now for Walker. Out to Russell. Russell looks like he's trying to come off, but then he keeps on going back to dummy half. No one seems to know what to do with him. Jordan, mate. You're calling out to you. Can you see me? How many fingers am I holding up out here?
He's very concussed right now. He's very concussed right now.
Please. No. Stop it. He's had enough. Please. Someone stop the match. Swarm eventually gets a kick away. Why is Marshall on this kick chase? Well, he's been sidestepped. No surprises there. Bell is brought down there by Walker. Can someone bring him off? He looks... Oh,
the ref needs to take responsibility. The ref needs to take responsibility. Stop the damn game. He's on his feet and he's concussed. The trainer can't get to him because the game won't bloody stop.
He was clearly see the field so many occasions as well, but he just can't get back because then their players get tackled. No one knows what to do right now. They're still trying to defend here. O'Neill out to Mataus. Mataus to Thompson. We're losing our minds up here. I think the referee lost his first. I think that everyone here has lost it. Thompson now will have to play it on the last. It's a slow play the ball. James now to Mataus. To O'Neill. O'Neill puts in a deep kick. Can you take it in goal? No. Crimp's taking it in the field of play. Marshall tried to run off again. He's been brought back to dummy half. Send the ball out. No. Jordan, please. If you can hear me, say something. Jordan again has to take a hit up. Crimp into dummy half. Now with Short. Okay, well, it's not running off this time because I guess he knew that he couldn't. Short will play it again. Marshall.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
He's tackled at marker. Oh,
he doesn't know what he's doing.
Just show him mercy, please. Just take a penalty so he can come off. It won't hurt you that bad. Barisic has only gained 15 meters because Marshall at dummy half has been absolutely hopeless because the man is injured. He should have taken that one. Barisic will. It's a stoppage in play. Can we bring him off now, please? It's been 15 minutes.
He's off. That's a sigh of relief.
Oh, my God.
Finally, the ref showed mercy and called the game stoppage. Jordan Marshall out on his feet. He must be. He'll be out for the season for that one.
Oh, and another hit on Ben Arnold there, but looks like by his replacement as Thompson ends up taking it. It was a hit from Downey. James now finds Maivia. Maivia out to Barnes to the wing of Bell. Can Bell get through the tackle? It looks like he might.
Is he over? Not even going to take a look at it.
I guess the referee had a clear view of that. Well, you didn't have a clear view of what was a blatant head injury.
How do you not even have a look at that, though? From me, I thought it was a try, and he doesn't even take a look at it.
Perhaps he just thought the arms were underneath. James tries to run. I don't feel like I can focus anymore. I feel like everything has just been overshadowed by the sheer negligence, the malpractice of the SRL officials here. I understand that I have a commissioner with me. There will be some harsh punishments dealt out to this referee for the sheer duty of care that was overlooked by this group of referees here. I know I shouldn't bash on them too much. I know that it was probably all we could focus on, but when it leads the game out that much, someone has to take a stand against it.
Yeah, he couldn't walk straight, Jordan Marshall. I don't know how this... I don't know how he didn't see that and just stop the play. You need to stop it. There's all this talk about well-being and head... and checking at the head injuries and stuff, and this ref just completely ignored it.
There are 4 people who had the ability to stop the game out there, and none of them took action. This falls on every one of them. As a kick from the Eels inside the 40 finds Bell. Bell is brought down about 32 out from his own line. We'll try and shelve that for now. It will definitely be the talk of pretty much the entire media on how mistreated Marshall may have been. Maybe he'll try and file a... there'd probably be a case for a CTE lawsuit in the works, perhaps. I'm still harping on about it. I can't get it out of my head. I just saw a man try and walk out there for 15 minutes while completely out on his feet like it was 1972 again. Leondis plays it for James on tackle 4. They go wide out to Barnes. Barnes puts on a step. Barnes is nearly through. He tries to beat Crimp. Crimp ends up wrapping him up. And some good assisted defense from Short ends up bringing him down. But Crimp held him down. And ends up being a penalty to the Raiders. And it looks like the referee, in spite of the fact that his oh no, don't start, Ollie. Don't start. He's decided to talk to Short and say, next time you're holding down, someone's got to go for 10.
Yeah, look, that wasn't great by the Eels. I think it might have been the last tackle after that play too, and they just think through a kick, and now they have to defend an entire set once more. They've had no ball this game at all, pretty much.
Yeah, there's been Arnold running over a defender. Looked like Downey once more, but that time he's not able to get through the line. James out to Wally Allen. Wally Allen wrapped up by Abraham Walker, and it looked like Walker was able to turn him on his back, and again, definitely held up according to the referee. No need to check that. And with just about 10 minutes to go, it's a short ball for O'Neill. O'Neill barely gets a kick away. Back up. Oh, great take, Thomas Mendonca. Mendonca ran backwards into the arms of Maivia. And then ends up playing it about 3 meters out from his own line. Bit of a costly error there, as now Downey finally able to get some ball here. But the Eels just have had nothing there. And I feel like they just might be completely uninspired after that. It's, oh dear, now we get a stoppage of the game. It looks like Tim James is hurt and down.
That does not look good for Tim James. He's in all sorts there. Both hookers have been injured now. This has just been a battle. An absolute battle. These teams have gone to war. They'll need an entire month to recover from this game.
Yeah, I mean, despite the low score, I mean, that's kind of what it's been. It's just been a lot of hard-hitting action. Marshall now will be out, definitely out for at least a game. Will be a force of the interchange bench. We'll have to see if he passes concussion protocol. My sources would lean no on that. And Tim James as well. Looked like he had a back injury there. Was clutching at that lower back and will have to go to the hospital for x-rays on that, or an MRI. I don't know my medical terms. Rangan Alvio has ended up having to go into dummy half here now. That's an interesting call for them. It's Ranga Halvio. I apologize for that. I always say Ranga now because it just feels natural, and also I'm pretty sure abbreviation like an N. Again, unfocused. Viu sends it out to Lormu.
Oh,
it
no.
bounces off O'Neill and then it rolls into touch. Wow. Well,
this game has had
everything. Let off
everything.
there.
This game has had everything but an Eels try. If the Eels get a try, then it's had everything. This is just...
Well, it hasn't had a field goal.
Hasn't had a field goal either. We need those two things to then it has had everything. Because this game has just been... Wowza. This has just been an interesting... A very interesting game, I'll put it that way. And there's another
what
error
a
now.
hit! Oh, goodness me. It was a massive shot there, and Jordan Lewis picked up the ball after Michael Crimp was forced to basically let it go. Taranga Nalviu taking a scoot from dummy half. That's a very powerful hooker. Now out to Barnes. Barnes with a pass to Wally Allen. Can Wally Allen get around the arm tackle? We couldn't see it there, and again, referee's right on top of it that time and says held up. Just over 6 minutes to play, and now the Raiders looking to seal this one away.
Oh, beautiful
out
pass.
to O'Neill. O'Neill to Lormu, but it was read well there on that wing. Mendonca, I believe, was the one to make the stop. Might have actually been Xavier Mando on that wing. Now O'Neill turned on his back, just short of the line. Where do they look? Ranga Halvio has to look for someone. Oh, what a play! Jason Lormu just takes the ring around and ends up scoring a dagger.
The pass, I don't know if it was meant to go to him, but he caught it, and then he just decides, you know what, I want to try. And he goes over, and that'll lock the game up for the Raiders. There's been a lot of things happen in this game, but that will seal the deal. Jason Lormu, he knows how to find the line, and he found it too easily right there.
Oh, shell-shocking there. It was really good pass as well. Taranga Halvio, he's not usually used to that hooker roll as, well, Thompson misses that one, so he'll end up being 2 from 3, but they'll be fine with it. They can be content with that 16-point lead, but it was so interesting to pass it because it's basically directly behind, so they can't call obstruction because he's not run through the inside shoulder of anyone. Jason Lormu just tried to fake right side, goes blind side instead, and ends up scoring and ends up putting a dagger in the heart of the Eels. They were looking decent enough. Sure, they still had a hope of coming back in that one. however slim it may have been, but that light has been switched off. Now the Raiders will try and see out the final 4.25 minutes of this match, as Ben Arnold will be the one to take it after the catch by O'Neill of that kickoff. Vio out to O'Neill. Now to Barnes. Barnes racing through. Barnes gets ankle tapped there by Luke Short. And, oh no, sorry, that's Shannon Freeburn actually working back there. And again, another name that we haven't called too much due to the Eels' distinct lack of possession and much of a drive to try and score in this match. It looks like the Raiders will be able to keep a clean sheet here as Barnes making another dash through. Ends up being brought down there by Crimp and Freeburn. They're able to play it just outside the Eels 30. Here's Thompson. Thompson will opt to go himself. Thompson plays it now for fair. Leondis will end up taking the run himself. Decide, you know what, let me get involved just a little bit more and just drive it into the red zone. But that is a 6th tackle, and the Eels will take perhaps their last set.
Yeah, I think both teams are on the hunches right now. So we have another injury.
That looks like Sabbath to Ua. He is hobbling right now, just trying to get back on defense. Now it's Cherry Evans. He's been had to call upon as, I believe, is actually deputizing for Marshall. As now Crimp passes out to Walker to Ua. Oh, look at him. He is limping. Oh, trying to find a little bit of a run at least. Evans now to Barisic. Oh, to Ua. Even when he's hurt, he's still able to make a solid tackle. Barisic now will play it for Evans. Out to Butler. Now with Crimp. Crimp puts on a step, trying to salvage whatever they can out of this match. Crimp will be brought down. 25 out. Out to Cherry Evans. Now Butler. Oh, he had a tough take and not a great kick. And Jacob Morrison will take it. And now the Eels will not be able to score. And it looks like the Raiders will take the 2 points, but not without some severe damage.
Yeah, these teams, as I said this earlier, and it's just even more so true now. These teams went to war. You know, the Eels, their defense was incredible tonight. They just don't have the attacking prowess to do any damage to this Raiders defense, who are also so damaging in defense tonight. These teams went to war in a 16-0 battle. And, well, this could be devastating for the Raiders season. The Eels pretty much are written off now, but the Raiders are going to have a few consequences from this game in terms of injuries.
Oh, I can't imagine how they're feeling. Ua with a thigh strain, Tim James with a back injury, Jordan Marshall with a concussion. There is a lot to think about for both of these teams as they head into the final 3 rounds, the home stretch, for chance to make their postseason dreams come true. Of course, for Raiders, they'll be feeling strong even with those injuries. They only do have to face Manly round 7, which may very well be a battle for that first place going into the finals. Well, there has been so much to speak on, and yet so little done. You know, at least in terms of the standings, as both teams stayed as they were pretty much. The Raiders with their 16-point win over the Eels. For Lachlan Martin and SRL TV and the Simulation Rugby League Premiership, I've been Ollie Parche. We will see you next time around.